What up, world? What up, world? What up, world? What up, world? What up, world, man? This your main man. I am DJ Double Dose, and man, we got so much shit to talk about, man. Without further ado, baby, we is not finna waste no time. We is not finna waste no time. You see the caption, you see what the title is: Katt Williams playoffs and the truth, man. You already know, man. This your main man. I am DJ Double Dose, man, coming at you from Double Dose of Reality Sports, man, and Happy New Year. I mean, shit. We is in day 4 of the new year. And I mean, you got shots being thrown. You got players jumping in. Sorry, Ole Miss. You got players jumping in the portal that you didn't think was gonna jump into the portal. I mean, we had an Orange Bowl that I would that I personally would love to forget that bullshit. You know what? There's gonna be a lot of cussing on this show. Hey man, as an Orange Bowl, I would like to forget that bullshit. And oh yeah, by the way, hey Bama fans, hey Texas fans, hey, guess where y'all at? Y'all in the same spot we at, man. On Monday night, neither one of your asses is gonna. I mean, but y'all, you know, I mean, hey, you look so good. You look so good in defeat. In defeat. I'm not here to talk about did you deserve or not deserve. We already know how I feel about the way things went down. And you know what? Karma has a way of working itself right on out. Because guess what? Y'all did. You know what? We're going to talk. You know, we're going to open the show. We're going to speak on Bama fans for just a minute. We're going to get to everything else. But just for a small second, you spent a lot of you Bama fans, you spent the last 3 weeks or so hooping and hollering and woofing and rah. Oh man, we this, we that. Not one that for most of you, I didn't hear anything about Michigan. I didn't hear you guys say anything about Michigan. I just heard you continuously defending yourself about why you were in the playoffs. That's what I heard. And then guess what happened? Got into the game. Michigan did everything in their power to lose the damn game, but they punched you in the mouth and they beat you. And it's hilarious to me because you spent all that time and all that energy trying to, you know, fortify your place and all this. And the truth is, like I told one of my homeboys, he was like, yeah, man, I said, hold on, let me stop you right there about Florida State. I said, let me stop you right there. I said the university and the coach made their statements, said how they felt about being snubbed, and that was it. There was nothing else that came out from FSU. So a lot of this made up crying or moaning, that was from a lot of the fans. That had nothing to do with the university. The university didn't bitch and moan to say anything. They made their statements. They said how they felt about being snubbed, and they moved on. They accepted the game to play Georgia, and they moved on. However, you guys continue to try to justify your reason for being when right here on this show. Hey, I had no issues with you being in. My issues, I made a whole show about it. You can go back and look. I had several issues about people in the playoffs. Had nothing to do with Alabama, but y'all made it a point at every turn you got to say something, to continue to say, hey, we better than Florida State. We're going to show y'all. Michigan ain't shit. And then look what happened. You look dreadful. And I know y'all want to say, oh, well, the game went into overtime. And it went to overtime. And you didn't look good. Miro threw for less than 150 yards in a freaking playoff game. In a freaking playoff game. The same quarterback that you guys, you know, been riding with, your offense didn't look like nothing. Let's be honest. If we want to get into the game, let's get into the game. Michigan did everything in their power to lose that game. I mean, they had 2 muff punts. The first muff punt set up your first touchdown. They had 2 muff punts, missed extra point. I won't really get on the missed field goal because it was almost a 50-yard kick, and those are not gimmies. So I won't bring up the field goal. I won't bring that up. But they did everything. They didn't play a clean game, not at all. Not at all. And you guys look like y'all had no answer for anything that Michigan wanted to do. Well, you guys look like you had no answer on offense. Like I said, your 2 touchdowns came from short fields. One came from the muff punt. The other one came from I guess you could call it a bad punt, or because they were deep in their territory. So whatever you want to call it with that. But you benefited from your 2 touchdowns came from 2 short fields. You really didn't drive the ball at all. You had, I think they said, I'd have to go pull it up. I think you might have had 1 throw, or you didn't have any. It was either any or 1 throw of over 20 yards, and that was it. So, do I smile about it? Yeah, because I mean, if you want me to be candid and be honest, I'm going to be real with you for a second here. You might not like it. I don't give a damn because you're sitting at home with me. Tay Rodemaker would have threw for more than 116 yards. I'm just saying, whether that would have been in a winning or losing effort, he would have thrown for more than 116 yards. Michigan got to a point where, and I know you don't want to hear this part either, they got to a point in that game where they did not respect your passing game. They had zero respect for your passing game. None. They knew that Milroe could only either throw deep or throw short, and they had no respect for the passing game, and it showed. And you bragged about 4th and 31, only fitting that you lose the game on a 4th and goal. So hats off to Michigan. This is not revisionist history. If you go back and you remember the pod, I had a lot of y'all jumping down my throat in the preseason because I said Michigan was going to win it all. So far, I'm right on par with the call. Now, they got a tall task against Washington, so we'll see. In Texas, listen, when I saw Xavier Worthy at the end of the Big 12 title game in a walking boot, although we know sometimes there's just precautionary measures, I said, man, that kid is not going to be, he's not going to be, I mean, I know anybody would say nobody's 100% this time of year, but I said, hey, that kid is not going to be ready to be the dynamic force that he's been all year by the time the playoffs come. And if you watch that game with Texas, you saw Worthy was not himself. Like, I'm not saying that he was terrible or anything, but you could tell that he wasn't himself. And without Brooks, of course, now don't get me wrong, what's the name, made up for it. But, you know, when you're missing 2 of your main weapons, where you're missing one and then the other one is not 100%, Texas secondary hasn't been good all year. And Washington, hey, man, them 3 wide receivers they have, Doomsday and company, they are 3 grown-ass men. And when you can't get the Penix, which most people have not all year, so that's nothing new, you saw what they was able to do. I mean, the game ended up being a lot closer than it should have been because of some boneheaded mistakes that Washington made. But ultimately, hey, look at what we got, man. We have the last 4 college football playoff for the 4 teams. We got no ACC schools, no SEC schools sitting here in the final championship game. So hats off to Michigan. Hats off to Washington. You got to give both of those teams credit because throughout the season, you know, Washington had some questionable games. They had some games where, hey, you know, they had a lot of 1-score games. And I'm going to be one that I will own mine. Like I always say, I will own my takes if I'm right. I own my takes if I'm wrong. And I'll tell you right now, I personally said that the Pac-12 would cannibalize itself, which is what they've done in the past. Washington persevered. They were able to win those games because, I mean, when you look at the Pac-12 over the years, they've done that to themselves. They've had a playoff contender, and that person, insert whichever team you want to put, USC, Oregon, Utah, whatever, insert whatever team you want to insert. They've gotten into a conference game and they've lost. And when they've lost, they pretty much took the Pac-12 off the board and they weren't able to play in the playoffs. So Washington proved me and a lot of other people wrong. They were able to navigate through, and the Pac-12 ended up being it ended up being arguably the toughest conference this season in his way out. I mean, I know that's kind of ironic. That's kind of messed up that you guys decided y'all wanted to figure it all out in the end, but ultimately, hey, it is what it is. Oh, and Texas, man, back to you, Texas, before I get off all of this. Texas, hey, man, we said it. We said it at the beginning of the season, man. This would be the most Texas thing to do. And what did they do? They won the Big 12 on their way out the door and headed to the playoffs on their way out the door. The future is bright for Texas. I mean, whether I think Ewers is going to declare, he should. He should. But he may or may not. I mean, you never know. He may or may not. I believe he's going to declare. If he does declare, we already know Arch Manning. We already know who's there. So as they navigate their way into the SEC, it's going to be interesting to see how Sark maneuvers that, how he maneuvers that schedule and how he handles things. And even on the Washington side, they're heading into the Big Ten. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate through the Big Ten. They are a very veteran-laced team. So they're going to lose a lot. This Washington team will lose a lot to whether it's transitioning to the draft or whether it's just graduating and moving on with life. They're going to lose a lot, going into next year. So, and as far as Michigan goes, man, look, finish the job. I mean, the rumors are out there. Everybody assumes that Harbaugh was going pro. I'm saying it like he's a kid about to go pro, but everybody is assuming with a few of the NFL vacancies that's out there that he's going to go to the NFL after he gets done, with this game. So if you're Michigan, hats off to you, salute. And all I can say is I'm looking forward to the game on Monday night. More than likely, we will be back. We'll definitely be on, whether it's live, halftime, or whatever I decide to do. And we're going to discuss it and we're going to talk about the game. Either we're going to do something we may do something at the halftime, but we definitely going to do something post. So, hey, man, enjoy it. We got one more college football game left as we move on to the NFL. And the playoffs will be kicking off in the NFL next weekend. So next week is going to be a busy week if you are a fan of football. In this show, we're going to pivot from sports for just a minute. One thing I want to make sure that I continue to do with this show, and it's something that I didn't do a lot in my other show that I'm on, but with this is something that I always want to do is, as life happens and things happen, we have to talk about them too, just as much as we talk about sports. And you see the caption, Katt Williams dropped. Hey man, Katt dropped some bombshells. Depending on what side of the fence you stand on, it's just like any other argument or any other discussion. You have people on one side that's going to say, hey, Katt full of shit. You got people on the other side that's going to say, hey, man, that man told some truth. So it really just depends on what side that you stand on. But the one thing that I will give Katt Williams, I know this may or may not ever reach him. Hey, it is what it is. But the one thing I will give Katt Williams, me and my partner Larry, we talked about it earlier today. When he speaks, whether you believe him or not, he speaks with conviction. He says what he says. And it was a 2.5 hour interview that he did with Shannon. With shout out to Shay Shay, Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp. And he said a lot. And whatever side of the fence you stand on, I understand. I'm not here to change anybody's thoughts or opinions, but I will just say two things that he pointed out. The people involved did not say that he was lying. They danced around certain things that he said. So when you see things of that nature where, hey, somebody says XYZ and the person that they're either accusing or saying lied or whatever the case may be, and they don't come straight up and deny said things and they dance around it or they give a different spin on what was said. I mean, we all pretty grown here. You can kind of take that as however you want to take it as. I can't tell you how to think. We all think and we all look at things from our own lens and our own perspective. But hats off to Katt Williams, man, for speaking his truth. I've seen people say, man, another grown man. I think, Trick tried to jump in and say, I don't like when grown men, get to speaking. But at the same time, if you were involved in a said lie or bent truth or whatever you want to call it, you would want to set the record straight about whatever's going on in your life as well. I think we all personally feel that way. You would want to set the record straight about your life if it involved you, if it was something that that was stated or that was said that was either not true or misconstrued. You would want to clear the record whenever you had a platform to clear the record. So as he said on Shannon's show, he was like, hey, Shannon, you are giving us a platform where we can tell the truth. And he said the things that he said, and he wanted to get some stuff off his chest. So I would be remiss if I didn't say my 2 cents. Hey man, Katt, I ride with you, brother. Keep on keeping on, man. Keep on doing your thing, man. Hey man, I've supported you over the years, whether it's, going to see your specials, seeing you in person. I supported you over the years. So hey, salute to Katt Williams, man. And salute to everybody that he mentioned, because I supported those individuals in one way or another as well. Whether it's Ricky Smiley, whether it's Kevin Hart, whether it's Sid, the entertainer. Now, Faison Love, outside of seeing him on Friday in what's the other movie? I forget the name of the movie with him and Vince Vaughn. It's leaving me right now. But I mean, I've seen that. I've never seen Faison stand up or anything like that. So, but hey, it is what it is, man. Comedians, rappers, hey man, this happens. Everybody knows everybody. So it's not hard to try to dig and find the full truth. I just put it at you like that. Everybody knows everybody. That circle is small, it's tight knit. It's no different than sporting circles, no different than DJing, it's no different than rapping. So it is what it is, man. Let's move right along. Let's transition to the NFL for a second. Hey, man, I got to be real for a second here. We all know where my allegiance lies, and it's with the 49ers. But I'm going to tell you something, man. Back-to-back weeks, Baltimore. If you are a Baltimore Ravens fan, team, supporter, whatever you want to call it, you got to be riding high right now, man. Back-to-back weeks, you put belt, boots to ass, you beat San Francisco, made Brock Purdy, made Brock Purdy, took him out of the MVP race under that 4-pick performance. I tell you that shit. Then you proceeded to go and beat the brakes off the Dolphins and claim the number 1 seed. All I'm saying is this. I personally, this is just me, I don't know how my fellow San Francisco fans would feel. I still have a bad, horrible taste in my mouth from that damn Super Bowl in New Orleans. Ray Lewis's quote unquote last freaking ride. Give me a second. Just give me a second, because that Super Bowl still bothers me. Damn, that Super Bowl still bothers me. So for me, Baltimore, and then after you just whooped our ass in our house, finish the job, man. Make your ass out the AFC. Finish the job. You got the 1 seed. Finish it. I don't want to see nobody standing on the other side of that field when we get to the Super Bowl. That's right. I said it. San Francisco making it to the Super Bowl. Them boys ain't going to do it. Philly ain't going to do it. Detroit ain't going to do it. Ain't nobody knocking us out. We taking care of business, and we marching our ass on to the Super Bowl. We marching our ass on to Vegas. So when we get to Vegas, when San Francisco gets to Vegas, I want Lamar ass standing on the other sideline. Because after you whooped our ass at home, I ain't forgot that damn Super Bowl. That's what I want. That's who I want in the Super Bowl. I wanted to be Baltimore, and I wanted to be Baltimore and San Francisco. That's right. I said I ain't ducking the fate. I don't want Miami's soft ass. I don't. Mahomes and Kansas City, they got some shit to figure out. They ain't look right all year, if you want me to be honest. They really haven't. They ain't look right all year. They've been skating along, but they ain't look right all year. I want Baltimore ass on the other side of that sideline. When we get to Vegas, I want it to be San Francisco and Baltimore. And also, speaking of Baltimore, get a man the MVP, unless you're going to give it to McCaffrey. That's 1A and 1B. I don't care. Well, hey, McCaffrey's on my squad, but McCaffrey has played absolutely freaking phenomenal this season. So the MVP race is a two-man race for me. Either give it to Lamar or give it to Christian. I'm cool with either one. Doesn't make me a difference. But in Vegas, I want it to be San Francisco versus Baltimore in Vegas. Pin this clip. That's right. I said it. Ain't ducking the fade. We ain't ducking it. Not at all. Okay? That was an embarrassment. They made Brock Purdy look like a damn rookie. I got so mad, I almost cut that shit off when he threw the fourth pick. I almost cut that shit off. I ain't even gonna hold you. I did. So, for me, as the caption says, Katt Williams, playoffs, and the truth. That's my truth. Right there. San Francisco, Baltimore, in the Super Bowl in Vegas. That's what I personally would love to see. I would love to see that. So, for me, give me that. And I would be very, very happy on Super Bowl Sunday. As we move on, before we get out of here, I just want to say, man, listen, college football has given us a great season. We are about to embark on the NFL playoffs starting next week. But never forget the games that we got. Always remember that there was a 14 playoff, and we knew from the jump that it was screwed up. And hey, this the last year of it. So if your team didn't make it, whether you are a fan of insert whoever, whether it's you're a fan of Florida State and you feel like we got robbed, whether you're a fan of Georgia and you feel like, hey, you know what? We showed everybody that we are one of the four best teams. Hell, we only lost one game at the end of the year. Whether you're an Ohio, people keep forgetting, whether you're an Ohio State fan, you know, whatever, whoever your allegiance is to, just know that we're going to 12. So a lot of this stuff is going to get, is it still going to be problems? Yeah, but if you're the 13th team complaining, is people really going to be listening to you? Is anybody really going to be beating the drum for the 13th team that may or may not got snubbed? I doubt it. So moving on to 12. You know what it's gonna be. Like they said, they've already pretty much showed you how they think to a certain degree. They may switch up when it goes to 12, so who knows how that goes. But you know, if you're a fan of whatever your team is, just know it's expanding to 12, and a lot more people is gonna get the opportunity to win a national championship. And that's something that we've always wanted in college football. We love the NCAA tournament because the little guy can win. And when we go to 12 teams in the playoffs, there's going to be a possibility that somebody might squeak in there in that set of those first round games because they're not going to get a bye. In that first set of games that, like, for example, I do this, we'll make it quick. Look at a team like Ole Miss. They couldn't beat Alabama in the regular season. They couldn't beat Georgia in the regular season. But guess what? You throw them in a 12-team playoff, who knows who they would have played in the first round? Knock them out. And then now they might be facing a rematch with an Alabama or with a Georgia or with whomever. So you never know what you may get once you get into a 12-team setting. You never know what you may get. I think it's going to be a lot harder for some of the main powerhouses. They're still going to punch their tickets, but it's going to be a lot harder because, again, if you don't get that bye, you're going to have to play 3 games instead of 2. And that's going to always, when you're playing more games than that, that's going to always be a hard thing to do. So enjoy Monday night for what it is. We will definitely be back Monday. Like I said, whether we do a pre, whether we do halftime, or we're definitely going to do a post game. So we're going to speak on that. Sunday, all the NFL. I really didn't touch on the NFL, the playoff seeding, because everything's going to be set Sunday. So between Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, we'll go ahead and talk about what's going on with the NFL as we head into the playoffs, man. So just remember to always live in your truth. Live as much in your truth as you can. And if you are living in your truth, not nobody else's, if you are living in your truth, then you'll be able to walk with your head up high, man. And before I go, just always remember, man, to live, laugh, and love, man. Live your life to the fullest. Love on the people that love you back, and find you something to laugh at each and every day, because I damn sure do, man. And we out.